Hey Stitch Cutie, welcome to the video tutorial for block 3 of your Boo Crew block of the month. This is the fun box you got in your mailbox, and it is a collaboration, as you know, with our friend of Amy Brucken Designs and of course ourselves here at Stitches of Love. So let's open your box. This is what you get. It's packaged so cute like inside. I hate to take it apart, but gotta do what you gotta do to get in there, right? Okay, so what you have in your box, of course, is your pattern. It is full color instructions for your block 3. So this month we're making the adorable little ghost. He's so cute with his little candy corn and his pumpkin. And then on the back it tells you how to easily make your block. And then it gives us nice instructions for the units that we're going to make in this video, which is 4 applique units. Then you also have your full placement guide, and it's all the pieces are numbered, nice and easy. And then even though you have all your laser cut pieces in your kit, if you want to make it again, you have each piece reversed and numbered so you can easily make a second quilt if you'd like. Have your candy corn, because when it's a Halloween project, it's just the law that you have to have a little nibble of candy corn. We have all of our pre-fused laser cut applique pieces, and then we have the fabrics we need for the block. So what I'm going to do in this video first is create my applique units, and we'll put it on our background fabric in a minute. So I'm going to set that aside. And let me just tell you what you do to get your applique pieces ready. They come pre-fused with heat and bond light and laser cut. So all you need to do is simply remove the backing from all of your pieces. What I like to do is have one little bowl for my trash and one for all my pieces. Now you'll notice that some of them, just like last month, you'll need to snip it apart. We do this so you don't lose your little pieces. It really does make it a lot easier. And I just use my favorite pair of scissors, which are my Karen K. Buckley scissors. And everywhere that you need to snip, it's just a little straight line cut. So it's easy peasy and your piece is perfect. So I'm gonna continue to get all of my pieces snipped free, and we'll be back in just a second to start building our applique units. So now I have all of my pieces with the backing peeled, and what we're gonna do is organize how we're gonna lay it out. So let me show you. I like to kind of share how I think about this. So pieces 1 through 5 are going to be one unit. So let's take a look at what those are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's grab those pieces and put it in a little pile. And I'm showing you this in this video because we have a few of you have emailed and said, you know, how do you organize your pieces if you're new to applique? So let's just get them ready. So we have piece number 1, so I'm going to put it face down in my hand. Piece number 2 are my little shoes. So I'm going to then put it face down. Then number 3 and 4 are the little white pieces that go on our shoe. So I'm going to take those, put them face down on my pile. And then number 5 is this purple. Put it face down. And then what I do, simply flip it over. And now I have a pile of all the pieces I need for that unit. And I'm just going to set it over here aside. If you have a little bowl, you might want to put it in a bowl in case you get interrupted in your project and maybe, you know, a kid or a grandkid or a cat or a dog, someone comes in your sewing room, you don't want them to be able to disturb your pieces. I, however, am in my studio. No one's going to come back in here, so I'm just going to set it aside. Now, the next unit that we're going to create, number 6 and 7. So let's take a look at what that is. So that is this little arm right here is going to be one unit. So we are going to identify which arm that is. So here we go. And let's see which hand it is. This one. So again, I'm just going to put 6 right on top of 7. I have that pile ready to go for a unit. My next unit is 8 and 10. Oh, 8 through 10. So 8, 9, 10. Now it's really interesting. Let me just point out something with the candy corn. You can see that the little white piece of the candy corn is underneath the arm, which is why it's going to be part of this unit. But you'll notice that the yellow is over the ghost. So we're going to pay special attention to the order that we place this. So 8, 9, and 10. So I know it's this, let's see, we have our little white. So I'm going to put it down. That's piece number 8. Number 9 is my hand. Number 10 is my arm. And then I just flip it over. And I have my pile exactly how I need to pick it up. Now the next unit we're going to make 11 through 13 and then 17 and 19. So yes, we are going to skip a few numbers it looks like. So 11 is... Let me move my pieces where y'all can see them. 11 is my hat. And then we're going to take number 12, which is this black piece. And then number 13 is my whole ghost. Woohoo! Then number 17 is the little purple at the top of my hat. And number 19 is my little nose. Now, because these two pieces are really little and my ghost is so big, I am gonna sit it on top so I don't accidentally lose those. Set it aside over here. And then you can see that the rest of my pieces, I'm just going to, these two are loose. And then these I'm just gonna add at the end to make sure that my unit is placed correctly. So we're gonna set these aside over here. And let's build our super cute unit. And you can see that we talk about pieces 14, 15, 16, and 18 in the instructions. So don't worry, we never leave you hanging in the instructions. So let's start building our unit. So what I have in front of me, I have my Steady Betty. I love pressing on my Steady Betty. It just is a habit now. I rarely ever actually use an ironing board. Actually never use an ironing board. I only use my Steady Betties. If you have an ironing board, don't worry, you can just put your Fusion mat on top of your ironing board and do that. But instead of a Fusion mat, what I'm using today is my Precision Fusing mat. It's by Precision Quilting Tools. It essentially is a Fusion mat. However, there's one benefit I like is that it's a little like whiter and clearer here in the center. So I have enjoyed using it. And a cool thing, I know you saw this in the last video as well for block 3, but when you purchase this in the box, it comes with the Teflon sheet, which is really nice in some projects. I've used this a lot. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. I use this a lot in different applications when I maybe want to put this on top of it to make sure I'm not going to get any fusible on my iron, and then I have this underneath to protect my pressing surface. So there's a lot of applications for this. And I really love getting two things in one box. The combo is great, and I think both of these together are about the same price as a Fusion mat. So the price is super comparable. Neither one of them is more expensive than the other. Both are great options, and we carry both of them. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just put my placement guide right underneath my mat, and the applique unit that we're gonna build is number 1, and so that is applique units 1 through 5. So again, remember I made my handy dandy little pile. I'm just gonna pick it up, put it on my work surface, and I'm ready to go. So piece number 1, we're just gonna put it right in place. And our applique placement guides give you the full line of your piece so you know you're accurate when you're putting it in place. Now we're gonna put piece number 2. And if you have a light box, you certainly can use your light box. I know in the instructions, we recommend that. And then you just wanna take this off the light box onto a pressing surface when you do iron. But for the purposes of the video, I don't have my light box out. So I'm just gonna take my iron, give that a quick tap. And if you're curious as to what iron I use, this is my Steam Fast Travel Iron. You can see it's the same one in all the videos. I love this thing. It's fantastic. I use it with machine applique, machine embroidery, applique, piecing. I just love this little thing by my workspace. Now we have our 2 pieces for our, the little insert, little front of his little shoe. So we're gonna put those 2 pieces down. These are pieces number 3 and 4. And they just go right in the center at the bottom of a shoe. So we're gonna press that. And now we're gonna put number 5. Number 5 is a perfect rectangle, so you don't have to worry about directional, you know, making sure it fits. And it just slightly overlaps on top of that shoe. So we're just gonna press where it overlaps for a second. Now we have this unit totally built. So the next unit that we're gonna build is 6 and 7. So we're gonna put our little hand in place. And then we're gonna put that in place. And we're just gonna tap where it overlaps. And then the next unit we build is over here. And again, this is where you wanna pay close attention to your numbering. So the piece we're gonna lay down first is number 8, and that is the white part of our candy corn. It's not a candy cane. That would be weird on a Halloween quilt, wouldn't it? And then we're gonna put our little hand in place. And then we'll put our sleeve in place, and we're gonna give this a tap to connect them all together, right where it overlaps. There we go. So now the next unit that we create is 11, 12, and 13. So I'm gonna move this over and give myself some space to work. So again, the pieces that we're gonna do is this big old pile right here. So number 11 is the top of our hat. So let's just review 11, 12, then 13. So, boop. And then number 12. There we go. And just make sure you have it in the right place. You want to make sure your pieces overlap, just like the lines on your placement guide. Now we're going to put our full ghost in place. Look at this. And I love this fabric. It really gives a nice texture. If you notice the front of your pattern, the ghost is just plain white. And when we were looking at the quote, we thought that was just a little boring. So Mom picked out this really fun motif fabric. I think it's called Spotted, if I remember right. But it just gives a really nice texture to your ghost. And a nice little bonus is that when you're working with a white fabric, a lot of times you have to double line it so you can't see your background through it. However, when you have a really nice print or a texture on your white, you don't have to double line it. So that's a nice benefit of this fabric as well. So we're just going to tap where this overlaps. And now we're going to put number 17 and 19 in place, which is the top of our hat. Just get this turned the right way. There we go. And we're going to press that where it overlaps. And now because I don't have my light box in this video, I'm going to pick this up and see about where my mouth of my ghost goes. He's so cute, isn't he? Just centered right there. And if you want to take a look at the picture and you go, yep, I'm going to have two little buttons right there and then this, so I'm happy with that placement. And we'll just tap that in place. So now let's just double check our instructions. We've created those units and now we're going to put it on our background fabric. And then don't forget, we have a few more pieces. So what I'm going to do before I put it on my background fabric, let's assemble our units together, right? So what I'm going to do is just gently pick up my unit over here. And remember, it's number 10 and it's going to go under 13. So, oh, I almost ironed it to my fabric, y'all, or to my paper. You want to pick your applique piece up gently. And we're just going to slip our arm right underneath here where it overlaps perfectly right here. Make sure my little hat's in place. And we're gonna press where this overlaps. And we're gonna do the same thing with this arm. Just gently peel it up. It's really nice to just, pull these right up, but you do want to be gentle. Make sure you don't hurt your pieces. And then just gently pull that up. So we're gonna put our little arm in place over here. There we go. Give it a press where it overlaps, just for a second. And now we're gonna put the very first unit that we made. We're gonna connect it right here. I feel like I'm lifting his skirt up. So we'll just put this right here where it goes. And it overlaps. Give it a press right there. So now let's go on and finish our little candy corn, right? So the next piece that will go down will be the orange. Put that right here. And then we're gonna put number 15. Now remember, number 15, the yellow is on top of the white, just by a little bit, but it is on top of it. There we go. So see how easy it was to create that, where you have your white underneath your arm or your hand, and then you have your yellow on top of your ghost. Easy peasy to create the layering with the applique. And then the final two pieces that we'll put in place once we're on our fabric is the star and our little pumpkin. So I'm gonna set those aside for right now, and I'll be back in just a second with my background fabric, and you and I will put this on together. Okay, so now we're back with our background fabric, and remember, the block that we have you make is much larger than you're gonna need. At the end, before we assemble the quilt at the end of the year, we're gonna trim it down. So don't worry, it's way bigger than your placement. That's because we like to give you a little more fabric than you really need. So what I'm gonna do is very gently remove my little ghost unit from my pressing sheet, and you just gently pull it. You wanna be really gentle where you know that little delicate pieces are overlapping. You don't want to accidentally tear them apart. But see, he comes right off in one happy unit. Cute as can be. So what we're gonna do is move our pressing mat out of the way because we don't need it now. And this is the part where I definitely would use a light box, but again, I don't have one set up in the video. But what you do is you line up the black fabric right where it says, make sure your seam is straight. And you can see that we indicate this line for you. We mark it, orange is on top, black is on bottom. We're gonna line this up. Then you just simply get your ghost. And I can actually kind of see through my fabric, I think. Doot, doot, doot. So I'm just gonna give it a little check. Make sure I have my pieces where they wanna go. And you'll see that your little purple piece is part on the orange and part on the black. And again, just give it a little check, make sure my pieces are where they are meant to be. And simply press him in place. Oh, I moved him right at the end. There we go. And so when you're pressing it onto your fabric, you do hold it for just a few seconds, longer than you did on your pressing sheet because you want to really actually adhere it now. And I just move up. There we go. And so now remember we have these two extra pieces. They're not extra, we just haven't put them on yet. So let's get that in place. So with my star, make sure I have it oriented the way, there we go, this way. So we'll just put it right here, press him into place, boop. And then our little pumpkin over here, I wanna make sure I get him oriented the right way. There's kind of like a little bump, if you will, on the top. See the little jut down? And then we'll just put it in place. He does go over the white. And then we just iron that in. So see how easy that is to create your block? So this is block 3. Now let's talk about how Julie stitched it, AKA Mom. That's what I call her. So she stitched the ghost in black. That really makes him come alive. I love it. The hat is stitched in black. You'll notice on the purple right here, she just did a simple straight stitch down the center of the little pom-pom on the hat. There's no need to try and do a buttonhole stitch on something that little, unless you're doing your embroidery machine, then you could. The little star is stitched in that butterfly gold 0567. Then the candy corn is stitched in the coordinating colors. Your flesh is stitched in that little ghost color flesh. And then your socks are stitched in orange, your shoes are stitched in black. Mom stitched black around the purple here at the bottom, and then you do a little black accent line for the handle of your little pumpkin bucket, and then the buttons, don't forget, those are gonna go on at the very end. So right now, after you do all your buttonhole and straight stitching, you're totally done, and you'll store this in a safe place until the end where the pattern will instruct you then to trim it down. And then once everything's quilted is when you'll put all your buttons on, and your buttons you get in your finishing kit at the end. So don't worry, we're not gonna ask you to try and keep up with little bitty buttons all year. We'll give them to you all at once at the end. So I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to help, and happy stitching.